possibly. I've been told I struggle with that dynamic you just broke down. Whatever the idea of like it may be a 10 to you, it's a 2 to me, so I kind of don't give a fuck about it. Now I don't go about it in that manner of
I
like,
get it.
but internally, I don't give a fuck about it. But so super long story shorter, a situation happened. That actually maybe we can unpack this on a later episode.
No, we can unpack it now.
Possible, we'll say whatever. But I won't get to the empathy part. But me and my dad actually aren't as close as we used to be. My dad lived in another state my whole life. Always been a great dad, always been involved, this and that, whatever. Recent years, we weren't really that close, whatever. And according to some people who've heard the whole timeline, they believe it all started from this one particular situation where. So I'm the type of person where I don't like acknowledge. I'm not the person to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Send the text, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy New Year. Like I don't do that, whatever. And definitely not for Mother's Day. I call my mom, and it's pretty much it. Like, I make sure I take my mom and my girl, of course, like, you know, because she's mother of my child. Other than that, like, if I happen to see someone I know who has a child, of course, I'm not fucking asshole. Oh, Happy Mother's Day, but I don't go out my way to think about it. And I don't think nothing's wrong if people do. Yeah. I just don't do that.
Yeah, understood.
So, I actually do birthdays. I'm big on acknowledging people's birthday. I thought that's the one day everybody should fucking acknowledge you. This is your day, whatever. Yeah. So if it's your birthday, I probably got it on my calendar, and I'm acknowledge you, whatever. And if I don't, I have no problem with someone checking me about it.
Understood.
So one year, my stepmom is at the same. I forgot to text her. Long story shorter. Cool. The next day or two, she said, "Hey, Q, you ain't texting my birthday." I said, "Oh, that's my bad. I apologize. I'm sorry. I literally slipped my mind. I remember seeing on my calendar. I forgot to text you. Cool. I believe that what happened was that's in August. May came up after that. I think that she combined those in her mind, and she made up in her mind that I don't give a fuck about her for a reason, whatever. And my dad texted me like, "Hey, Q, you ain't text her for Mother's Day." And I'm big on ignoring people when I don't like fuck what you just text me about. That's the point of text messages. I'm gonna just ignore it. So he like, "Hey, you ain't text her for Mother's Day?" I was like, I don't know what that's about. Then he called me, but I was doing something, so I didn't pick up. And then he texted me again about it. And then by the time I was about to call him back, yeah, so by the way, I was just, about the Mother's Day thing. And I was like, because she not my mom? Like, I'm confused, whatever. So, and I didn't mean it. Mind you, I've known this lady for 20 years, never had no fights, arguments. I didn't have beefs with my stepdad, but his wife never had no arguments ever. But I've never texted her for Mother's Day. So long as you're sure, a lot of shit happened after that, but a lot of people who've heard the story feel like it's been microaggressions that stem from that and things kind of deteriorate a little bit, whatever. Now, I bring it to this 10 and 2 thing is one of my friends saying, but Q, like, you don't feel that was disrespectful though? Because like, if they just saying they just want you to acknowledge Mother's Day, why not though? And I was like, well, one, I don't really do too well with people trying to like make me do something, especially I think it's dumb and unnecessary or whatever. And two, I feel there's no precedent. So I think it's just dumb to try to make it seem like it matters. Now all of a sudden it's a 10. It used to be a 0 or 2. Now it's a 10 today. And he kind of framed it was like, well, if it means nothing, it costs you nothing, why not just do it to oblige him? And I was like, you're right, but my brain literally just can't compute to that to just do it. But I think the way you kind of broke that down, I acknowledge that if it's just a 2 to you, why not just do it? If it means a 10 to them, whatever. Yeah. But I definitely stood on it though.
I don't think you were disrespecting anyone. I just think it shows a lack of respect for, and as a man with kids, right, and a girlfriend who is not my kid's mom, I can see as a father how he can feel embarrassed that it's blatant that my kid don't respect you. And you said to your own philosophy, I can't quote you, but I'll paraphrase, that if I don't give a fuck about you, I'm just not about to text you. So if you say that,
in general, like
you said that. You said I just text my mom and my daughter's mom because it's not that deep to you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't give a fuck like you don't fuck with her. I'm saying you don't give a fuck like it's not on your list of shit to do.
Right.
But it could be received like I don't give a, because if I didn't contextually add that, no, it's not that you don't fuck with the person, just by you saying, yeah, I really don't give a fuck to do it, it sounds like, I really don't give a fuck about you. Mm-hmm. And depending on where someone is at.
I never distributed that type of energy before?
Only because, you already said, you already hit it on the point where she compiled those two.
I assumed that.
Well, of course, but based on your assumption and the outcome, that's a fair assumption.
Fair.
I don't believe in assumptions, but I think the lack of communication here and what you're drawing makes sense why you would conclude that.
Gotcha.
But again, I think that the conversation should have been had as adults. Like, listen, like when I did that, it wasn't intentional. Mm-hmm. I think that's where like the man up shit got to come in. It's like, look, Dad, if I came off like I'd say this to grown men, grown women, kids, whatever. If I came off in an offensive manner, I apologize because that was not my intent. here's what I was thinking. Now, I do understand that threshold. I'm not explaining myself, right? Because after a while, but in this particular matter, when it's a misunderstanding that's not a 10 to you, it's worth explaining. Because the explanation is the energy. It takes more energy for you and your dad to be at odds. Now it's a bunch of petty shit. Now it's like, we ain't that close. When a simple conversation could have been had, man to man, look, Pop, I really didn't even think of it like that. Like, what's her name? Miss whatever. Has she ever been a mother figure to you?
So it's funny.
Figure.
Sure. Yes.
You should be texting her Happy Mother's Day. I'm gonna tell you that as we develop in our friendship, and I would tell any of my friends of 20 years plus, because she has been a mother-like figure. So you don't have to love her as much as your mom. You don't have to treat her like your mom, but just a simple the respect as a figure of a mother that's been in your life. Whether you enjoyed it or not, you didn't like Andre, but he's still your stepdad. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like whatever her name is, you know, I'm just saying that because I don't,
Right.
I don't want to seem like I'm like degrading or disrespecting her. But
You don't fuck with her either. That's crazy.
I just don't know her name. I address Andre by name because you actually gave him a name.
His name. Yeah,
you gave him a name. You didn't give her a name. You said my dad's girlfriend. So until you give her,
it's like, don't joke. It's Sonya. Shout out to Sonya.
Sonya.
I literally have no animosity towards her.
Miss Sonya, if you would have,
Sonya.
just shot her a message, I think that it would have just been dope. And when you talk about being thorough, that's what's thorough, in my opinion. It's doing what's right, even when it's against my comfort zone. But it's the right thing to do. And I don't think your dad was wrong based on the little mini bit of information that I have
for sure.
in that particular approach and feeling like, yo, I'm going to talk to my son. Because you never know what type of wedge that created in their relationship, which made him feel like, damn, I need to talk to my son about this. And that's what should have been acknowledged. Well, damn, why is my dad bringing this to me in the first place?
Now, I'm going to give you, we're not going to go down the whole thing, but a little bit more. So how I feel is about the whole thing coming to my son about it, right? I'm big on, and part of the waning of the relationship is I feel like, oh, like you kind of don't know me. That's a whole other topic, whatever.
Him or her?
My dad. And I feel like if it was me in those shoes, for the most part, there's nothing nobody can tell me about my child.
Yeah.
Unless something is overtly, it's like he did something. Like he said, like, bitch, fuck your Mother's Day. Or fuck, like, but if it's just like, oh, he just didn't text your Mother's Day, which he never did, you can kind of get the fuck out my face too for real. Like, so it's like, that's what, so if it's me, and even if that is, cause I'm not even saying she did come to him. No. I'm just saying, let's just say, however he landed on that, to me, I don't even think that was valid for real, or thorough. And that's me, cause I feel if it's my wife come to me about my child, yeah, like, you know what, they ain't text my mother. I'd be like, okay. Like,
you know, I get it again, but that's you valuing it at a 2.
Right.
So, but it's like, again, you got to see it from a 10 perspective. And it don't have to be that particular scenario. You have to ask yourself, what would make me go to Queen, your daughter, about a situation involving X, Y, and Z? And then put yourself from that perspective. You can't judge it based on the 2 that you view it as. You have to judge it from a 10 that is being presented as. And that's the way you connect the dots.
And that's a very fair
assessment.
Mental exercise.
Yeah.
And assessment. I'm process it. But the last thing I'm put in is like, I just feel like when I think about the 10 to 2 dynamic and parallels, comparisons, just like it's difficult for me to do because back to the empathy part is not many things are 10s to me. So yeah, so when I see people who have a lot of 10s, it should be like, I'm gonna just look you dead in your face and say, those aren't 10s.
Or maybe they just got 10 10s and that's just it. Maybe nothing else in the world matter but those 10 10s. But those 10 10s might just be the things that you do. So it seems like you could never do no right. But before I even go all the way down a rabbit hole about the 10, right? I want to stay in the regard. You said that you feel like your dad don't know you if he don't know how. But at the same time, it's almost like you kind of like, if you don't get with the program, then it's like you almost making it his responsibility to adjust to how you are and accept it. And I do think we should be accepted for who we are and how we are, but it still has to be communicated in that regard. You got to do your part too, and that's the accountability too. It's like you got to make it look, Dad. Like I think you should get to know me and how I am, because if you know a little bit more about me, you will realize that I ain't even think twice about it. And it's not in a way where it's like I'm being disrespectful or showing lack of respect, but just in a way where it's like my mind just don't work like that. Like I can, to your point, people, I'd be like, I don't think about other people. I don't. When I say that, it's not saying I'm lacking the compassion or the empathy to be able to keep them in mind. Is I'm just so focused on what I got going on that I don't sit around and be like, I wonder what Q doing right now. Like if Q reach out and tell me he got something going on, oh damn, you all right, bro? You need to talk. But other than that, I'm focused on writing books and doing podcasts and doing this and doing that. Like I'm not sitting around thinking about nobody else's life, not my friends, not even my kids. I'm gonna keep it a being with you. I think about their well-being and their safety. I don't think about what they're doing all day, every day. I don't micromanage and monitor, not my girl, not none of that. But when they come to me, I'm very present in that moment. Right. So I get that whole, aspect of, just being like focused on whatever you got going on. But I still communicate that because I don't want it to come off in a way where I'm like you might come to me like, yo, bro, you seen that game? I'm like, bro, I'm gonna keep it a bean. I don't give a fuck about that game. Like, but it's sometimes where I had to catch myself like, you know what? But my friends really do like talking about sports, and they can't. Everybody don't want to have a serious therapeutic conversation all day, every day. So what I had to do within myself was learn that with certain friendships, like way before we got on camera, you just heard my phone ring, and my homie was like, "Fuck out of here, Kenny Pickett." We only talk sports. So the Eagles just traded for Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? So we only talk sports. So the only thing he called, "Fuck out of here, Kenny Pickett." I'm like, I'm gonna call you back on phone, but yeah, you know that nigga hung up. Like we don't have nothing else to talk about.
Right. Like I said that like I compartmentalize certain.
Yeah. So no, we had that. We have had that talk, but I'm saying like it goes deeper than that when it's even the relationship aspect with you and your pop, because you almost like, nigga, you should know your son, but you ain't even opened up in a way for the man to know you if you don't say it. Straight up what it is, Dad. This is who I am and how I think. If you don't say that, you can't expect this man to know that without thinking how he think. And he might think like, yo, my son don't respect me, or because he don't respect my woman.
All fair. Little piece of information as well. We actually did have that conversation where I was like, yo, you don't know me. Like, and we had
did you tell him how to know you is the conversation?
Yes, we had a whole conversation. And it's the funny part. So leading up to this, whatever, I was saying I had certain thoughts, whatever, my girl, and I think you have a conversation with your dad. Yeah. And I was like, nah, cause I already know how it was going to end, whatever. Yeah. Cause I know my dad even more than he know me. So she's like, no, I just think you should.
What if he say you don't know him at all too though?
He didn't say that. But he can say that's fair, whatever, I said was better. He can still say you still don't know me. Like, you don't know me 0. I know you at 10. So like type shit. But and I'm saying that.
I got the.
But so we had a conversation. I said it, whatever, and it ended pretty much how I thought it would. And again, I feel this is a dope conversation because one, everybody has had a parent at some point, whatever. So you can have you can relate these type of situations with a parent, friend, relationship, whatever.
Yeah, because relationships is transparent across the board.
So and it ended with him just saying like, you know what, Q, I'm glad we had this conversation. Me and my dad was never able to have this conversation. Yeah. And I just know, and I actually give my dad some grace where I feel like I know he wasn't raised in certain ways to even have the emotional, mental bandwidth to reach certain heights, whatever, of a relationship. So, but that was a cool acknowledgement. I received it, I acknowledged it, but I knew he didn't really have the bandwidth to be like, oh, okay, I received what you're saying, and I'm going to apply it in this way, whatever. He just received it and be like, wow, I couldn't even say it to my dad. And I was like, that's cool.
Because I think in his mind, he still feel like you was wrong. So I think he did what he could to acknowledge how you felt in your perspective without minimizing it. But me being on the outside,
and I was like, one thing real quick. If it was somebody who actually does know me better, they already know. Because when you know people, you know how to deal with them, and shit like that, whatever. People already know not to come with me with certain things and certain manners, whatever.
But I don't think that's fair though, because then that mean I gotta walk on eggshells to be your friend.
No. Like for instance, I got one friend, right? He's not like super Muslim, not that, whatever. But he doesn't like either Merry Christmas, I forgot which one it is, but like, why are you presuming or assuming that I celebrate Christmas? There's like a pet peeve of his. So to fuck with him, I say, oh, Merry Christmas, whatever. Right. But I already know, because I know him. I'm not going, so I feel like when you know people, it's not.
I get it. Yeah. You gotta be intentional about getting to know. Even when we have our conversations in our meetings, and I'd be like, yo, that's the way I am, so that you don't receive my approach the wrong way. I think that's
you build and learn it over time as well.
100%. Yeah. But just in this regard to this particular matter, I think it's not a you don't know me moment. I think that's one of the moments where you just gotta. And I ain't telling you what you got to do by saying you just got. I'm speaking generally to anybody that this might apply to. You have to approach it in a way where you're being understanding. Because I feel like everybody want to be understood, but nobody want to be understanding. Sure. Everybody want to talk, but nobody want to listen. And when listening, they're listening to respond and not to understand what's being presented to them from the person's perspective. So it creates for a rebuttal versus a response. Because when you respond, and that takes thought. Right. And it takes intentionality. And it's like, I'm responding to what you said based on how you felt and where you're coming from so that we can create resolve, not based on the point I want to get across or based on, where I felt like you didn't hear me or based on what I think it should be. And I think that that's important when relationship building, because that's how it's built. It's your brick, their brick, your brick, their brick. Sometimes bricks intertwine, sometimes bricks don't fit. If they don't fit that dynamic of that relationship, they're obsolete. They're not useful. And that's what the connection between a father and son, a mother and son, a mother, whatever should look like. It should look like me trying to show you who I am while receiving who you are, and vice versa. Like, I don't try to change you, right? Like, I don't say the word bitch no more at all. Like, I used to be. I say this so much, I didn't even think it was disrespectful. You know what I mean? And I'm heavy anti.
I got a friend trying that now.
Yeah, but it's like I've been on it for years. Like, so it's like I say chicks. My big brother came home from after doing a couple 14, 15 years in jail. He's like, why you call them bitches? Why you don't just call them chicks? And that could be just as degrading, but it's just not the word bitch. So if I'm not saying woman or female, I'm gonna just say, yeah, we got some chicks or, whatever. But I also allow for the space for other people to develop at their own level and rate, where it's like, all right, because I know people that still had a dude, one of my homies that of a long time friendship, we ain't as close as we was today as we was years ago, but he just called me for advice and was like, yeah, because this bitch, that bitch, this bitch, that. And I'm just like, he was like, yeah, she gets so mad at me calling her bitch, but I say it so much that it's not even intended to be disrespectful. I plug in. It's not really about how you give it off. It's about what the emotional value that it holds to her. She feels disrespected. Yeah. And I was like, you can't expect her to talk to you a certain way with respect, and you literally saying the bitch word to her, and she's telling you it's disrespectful. You know what this nigga say to me on the phone? And she said the same shit. She said, how you expect you to be able to say that, but I can't say that? And that's like, he had his moment where he realized, like, damn, I am being a hypocrite. But he didn't see it like that because it was a 2 to him. Because the word bitch didn't hurt that much value. So even when you say it, it's like, it don't bother me. I'm like, all right, me and Q at 2 different places. Because I remember when I was like, yeah, bitch, and this bitch.
You think I say it a lot?
You said enough. You said it's
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Enough. I don't think I said
not
it a lot.
good enough, but it's like you see it. I think that
I
it's
just don't think
never.
it's a lot, yeah.
I've never heard you say you're a bitch, but it's just like, yo, these bitches are. So it's like a context thing.
That's how I sound too. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I literally was mocking you.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I literally was
was
giving you.
like,
But I also say that's what makes QQ. So I say that to say I'm receiving you for who you are without trying to change you. But I love these conversations